Here we go. Some live action. Hello, my fellow YouTubers. This is Roy back again. Right now, I'm going to show you something interesting. I'm pushing on through the one leg of the case on here. And pretty interesting. We're adding this aluminum. Well, this is a iron rod with copper cladding, and it goes down deep in the ground, 8 feet. We're adding this aluminum sleeve, and then we're adding a bifilar coil, 720 turns of 12 gauge wire and 3 times the turns in the feedback wire, the bifilar. Now this goes down into the sleeve. I put a notch here so they will be stuck. So at the bottom of this fatter caisson, it's wide open, and the bottom of this smaller caisson, there's a welded ring at the bottom to where this pipe goes in the ground. It's 8-foot pipe, and this pipe is tack welded basically to that ring down bottom, and that makes a connection. There's going to be between that caisson and that caisson, see that gap I left? That's going to be a dielectric. That is going to go down that caisson there. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. You'll have your at least gallon PMH. You got 2 of them. This is where it gets a little more interesting. I wound these bottles like Ed has. Each one of these are 0.08 ohms. I'm matching the ohms through the wrapped magnets, the 12-sided coil that's going inside here, and the 8.08 ohms also will be matched on the coils, the 16 gauge, sweet 16. And here's iron wire, which will make a magnetic field in the bottle. And the ticker is this bottle will be filled with water. And not just any water, a water that is a brine. That'll be sealed down there. Got your magnetic field entering up through the bottle. And on top of this bottle here, actually, this bottle here, they're both wound differently. Made a nice hole in the bottom. And the way this is going to be wound, it's going to be wound like this. So we will fill that cavity with water and test it, and then we will seal these 2 together. Now this also has the rod going up a certain distance, and that'll be sealed. And then this, I will put a hole on the top so I can fill it with water. Keep watching the videos. We'll get more in tuned on how the oscillator will come in. The mod here is going to be set up like this. So when the magnetic field will have a transformer action happening in the thin wire would be the high voltage and the thick wire would be the low voltage. So we'll be able to have two different voltages in transformer action happening from these magnets. Now these magnets aren't strong, but when I finish wrapping these, they will be super strong. Every time they're pulsed, there will be a transformer action. This action will go through each one of these pipes. There'll be a high side and a low side. So that'll be south, that'll be north, that'll be north, that'll be south. Then it just rotates and switches, oscillates. And then these two become oscillatorial as well. One will be, obviously, these water capacitors are pretty interesting because they'll be backed up. This will be the low voltage, by the way, coming through. And the high voltage will be these copper wire coils versus iron. If you want to ask questions, I will answer. Why iron? Iron's so much stronger magnetically than copper will ever be. So I get to cheat a little bit by using iron. And with having water inside here, the question would be, what would that do? Well, pressurized water. I do have my vacuum set up here. We will pressurize this water to be a positive pressure. The water does have a probe inside of it, which is the core. So we're going to have to watch and see if any gases, hydrogen gases, would come out of the mix. If they do, there will be a pipe on, there'll be a breather on top to let the gases escape. Hydrogen gas, we'll get into this a little bit more, but we're looking to oscillate each one of these pipes that will become its own capacitance when they oscillate through a low density oscillation similar to the Schumann resonance, which will be about 7.8 hertz. The low high pressured pulses will amount to a couple things. One, they will be acting like a basically a capacitor transformer induction, to where the transformer does not want to do change. So therefore you'll have a slowdown period in the release of the energy that's stuck in the iron. But the iron will give up as it does here, because you'll see everything we're talking about, even without a coil, is happening in the iron. I mean, basically, when this south pole, the yellow, and this is north. So every time you turn the wheel, the south pole comes here, it's going to have a reaction with the iron. And then as it pushes over, the iron's going to run, the energy is going to run around, and want to connect over here. As soon as it connects there, then you have an induction between, magnetic induction between this south pole and this being the north charge. So they're attracting at the polar ends here. As it turns around the loop at this polar end, it's attracted to the north. So this is south and this will be the north. Now, as this pushes through, you're going to get an elastic type of jellified arrangement, because what's going to happen now, where she sits, it's not liking what just happened, and it's starting to stretch itself out, and then as it gets right to the half point, it just releases.